Hi folks, welcome back. Thank you for watching. Please do hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. It really does help when you do that. So last October, I think it was, I put together a video which was choosing my favourite guitar at the time, my favourite pedal and my favourite amp and pairing them all together. Now, I wanted to try something a little bit different today, which was putting together a so-called best of British rig in terms of British circuits and British made pedals and things like that. Now, to address the elephant in the room before we even get to it, most of the classic guitars, SGs, 335, Strats, Tellys, Les Pauls, are of course either Fender or Gibson, so they are American guitars, and I don't own a British made guitar, even a replica of one of those old American classics. So I'm going to have to compromise a little bit there. So the guitar I'm going to use is my most special guitar, which is this one here, my Heritage 535, which is completely handmade, no CNC or anything like that, built in Gibson's old Kalamazoo factory by a lot of the old Gibson artisan luthiers. So it really is a special instrument. It's obviously very inspired by a 335, but this is definitely my most special guitar and I absolutely love how it sounds. But another reason I wanted to use this guitar is because it has these pickups in it, which are the Monty's PAFs. Now, in terms of thin line guitars, these are the only pickups I ever want to have in a thin line. They really, really suit the 335 style thing, and of course these were made in London. Now, in terms of the strings I use on my guitars, I use these, which are Newtone strings, and these are handmade in, where is it, Derbyshire in England. So this is a custom gauge for me. They sound absolutely amazing. Handmade British strings, absolutely love those. Now, in terms of the amp that I'm going to use, as many of you will know, I've recently got hold of an old orange Retro 50 head, which is essentially one of the early 70s picks only orange amplifiers with a master volume. That's the thinking behind it. And it is one of the most astonishing British voiced amps I've ever played. I absolutely love that thing. So that's the amp head that I'm going to use today, the Retro 50 from Orange. All point-to-point, hand-wired on terminal board, looks incredible inside and just sounds absolutely divine. It's a little bit different to what you would associate from the sort of Marshall British voiced amps. Marshalls tend to have a bit of a sort of fizz in the upper mid-range. The Orange is a bit more thumpy in the lower mid-range. So it's very British voiced, but it's just a little bit different in terms of its mid-emphasis. Now, the cab I'm running it into is a Zilla Studio Pro. Now, the previous owner took the Zilla badge off and replaced it with an old school Marshall logo, but it is a Zilla cab, which was made just a few miles down the road from me. This one was made in Bridgewater. They've now moved down to Tintagel in Cornwall, but this particular one was made about 10 miles down the road from me. And the speakers I've got in there are two classic handmade British speakers. So I'm pairing the Fane F70, which is a ceramic speaker, sounds absolutely incredible, with the Celestion G12H Heritage. Now, the old G12H speakers of the 70s were actually for bass guitars and bass amps, but guitarists quickly adopted them because they sounded really, really great. And that combination of speakers in the Zilla Studio Pro running closed back just sounds absolutely perfect with that orange head. Now, I wanted to limit myself to one pedal today, like that original video, and I was thinking about what circuits I really like and which ones I use all the time. And it essentially boiled down to just one pedal. Now, I love fuzz pedals, and this amp loves having fuzz pedals put into it, so I decided to go with my favourite fuzz pedal I've ever played, which is this one here, the Williams Audio Mark I, which is of course a replica of an old Mark I tone bender. Now, the tone bender is a classic British fuzz circuit. This one's made by Nick Williams, just a few miles down the road from me, and it is my favourite fuzz I've ever played. It's aggressive, it's spitty, it's gated, and if you don't control it with your guitar's volume and your picking dynamics, it will make a fool of you. But when you dial it in and you learn to control it and get it just right and pair it with the right amp and the right guitar, you cannot beat it. It is absolutely amazing. So that today, folks, is my best of British rig. Granted, an American guitar with some British-made PAF replicas, with some British-made strings going into a British orange hand-wired amp head, into a British-made cab with 2 handmade British speakers, and a British fuzz made just down the road from me. So I just wanted to put this together as a bit of fun today to kind of follow on from that last video, but just show you essentially why Brits are so synonymous with early sort of 70s rock guitar sounds. So without further ado, folks, here we go. are, folks. Now, please do comment underneath, let me know what you thought of the tones you heard today. I love chatting nerdy guitar stuff with you folks in the comment sections. But for me, those were some of my favourite guitar sounds I've ever had in this room. A top quality guitar, hand wound pickups, going into a point-to-point hand wired head, amazing speakers, a killer fuzz pedal. You really can't get much better than that if you live in classic rock world like I do. Some incredible old school sounds there. But as always, folks, please do comment underneath, let me know your thoughts and opinions. I love hearing from you folks in the comment sections. But for now, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope this video was interesting and useful for you. Please do carry on subscribing. It makes a huge difference when you do that. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.